Who's gonna teach you how to dance? Who's gonna show you how to fly? Who's gonna call you on the lame dope smoking slacking little sucker you are?
Alright. Doesn't matter. You won. We just need to get over it. Never mind the rise in food and fuel prices that hurts the poor the hardest. Never mind that. You won. Just gotta get over it. Never mind that the underprivileged areas that came out most in favour of Brexit, never mind that those are going to suffer most from the loss of European investment. Never mind that. You won. We just gotta get over it. Never mind that banks and businesses are fleeing to the continent and taking jobs and money with them. You won. Just gotta suck it up and get over it. Never mind that Airbus has said that the cabinet hasn't got a fucking clue what they're doing, and they still haven't agreed on a way forward with not that long left to go. Never mind all that. You won the referendum. Just gotta get over it. Never mind. Never mind that it was a narrow win. That doesn't matter. Never mind the lies that were told. That doesn't matter. You won. Never mind that it was a purely advisory referendum. Never mind that. Doesn't matter. You won. Just gotta get over it. But what's this? Surprising, literally 2 people, perhaps around the entire country, it has emerged that the Leave campaign broke electoral rules. Not just once, but 4 times in one half of the campaign, and at least 1 time in the other half of the campaign. They overspent, they lied, they cheated. They cheated in a democratic vote. And I mean, all the Brexiteers, they care so much about democracy that surely a perversion and a subversion of democracy would have them all up in arms and joining the rest of us in demanding a second referendum at the end of all this, right? For people who are so keen on the idea that the will of the people must come over and above everything, you would think they would be more concerned about the will of the people being usurped and perverted by a combination of outsider influence and corruption within the Leave campaign. You would think. But the arguments back on this have been peculiar. For one thing, people who have insisted right up until this point that the referendum was absolutely binding and the government had to go along with it, now they're suddenly converts to the idea that it was purely an advisory referendum, and that because it was a purely advisory referendum, that the electoral rules don't apply, and so the corruption and perversion and lying and interference and so on don't matter. Not a bit. Some of them have taken to complaining, though there have been no reports or convictions, as there have been for the Leave campaign, that the Remain campaign was also corrupt. Well, if the whole election was corrupt, that's an even stronger case for another vote. Is it not? Especially now that we hopefully will, at some point, have an idea of what kind of Brexit we're going to get, and a better assessment of just how bad it's going to be, on the backs of everything awful that's happened already. So that doesn't seem to me to be a particularly good line of argument for them to make. They overspent by 10%. A statistically significant margin is 5% of the kind of absolute typical upper limit. More often, around 2%. So that is a significant margin. We don't know how many votes were changed due to the unfairness and the corruption and the overspending. So surely that means we should have another vote, does it not? If this one's called into question, if you won by cheating, we should look at it again. especially now that we can make a much more informed decision without all the speculation that went on before. We now have a much better idea of just how much cutting and running is going to fuck us up, and how incompetent the government is to deal with it. But no, you got the result you wanted, and so it seems that you're willing to put up with any amount of corruption or interference or lies or any amount of breaking of electoral rules just to keep the result that you want, and never mind that you cheated. What if Britain had won that, England had won that last football game illegally with a handball in? Would you still feel good about it? Would you feel that was revenge for what Argentina did so long ago? And why do I even know this? I fucking hate football. You take the point when someone cheats in a sporting event, or what if Colombia had done it? If someone cheats in a sporting event, then the win is nullified, and at the very least, usually it's awarded to the other side. This isn't the same, but the cheating is the same. It calls the whole thing into question. This masochistic act of self-sabotage that you have dishonestly attained for the country. So surely, if you really honestly do care about democracy that much, and you disagree with me about everything else, and you think that Remain were just as bad, surely, despite all of that, if there was cheating, which the Commission has said that there is, we should have another vote. Surely, if you really respect democracy that much, that's what we should do. Or are you going to ply me with conspiracy theories about bias in the Electoral Commission? Is that what's going to happen here? And May is on record last year as having said that even if Parliament overrides her, which under these circumstances, if they're serious, they absolutely should, that she would go ahead anyway. That's like trying to claim royal prerogative as it used to be before we decapitated a king over this for herself as Prime Minister, or a presidential version of a Prime Minister. Much like Trump has in the US, Brexit has underlined all the fractures and breaks and broken parts of our democracy. That should almost be a good thing, because it will allow us to address them and deal with them and make our democracy more responsive and more robust. But unfortunately, as with Trump, what actually seems to be happening is that it's allowing all kinds of people to exploit these weaknesses that we have dealt with in other ways in the past. That's no good for anyone. So come on, if you really, honestly believe in and want to defend democracy and the will of the people, how about we actually find out what the will of the people is, with all the cards, all the information on the table, and a lot more watching over a second referendum to ensure that there's no cheating or underhanded tactics or lies on any side. Surely that's reasonable. No? I look forward to your conspiracy comments, unfollowings, and other bullshit in the comments. Zang. Just quickly, while I've got you, the redesign of the B&D t-shirt is now up at Teespring, after the previous, obviously satirical one was taken down, apparently by a notice from Wizards of the Coast. So if you like a bit of with your check it out. Do you like t-shirts?
Yeah, boy!
Do you like games?
Certainly.
Are you perhaps a little bit kinky?
Yes, quite.
Then buy one of our B&D t-shirts at Teespring. Teespring.com/stores/postmortem-studios. You want to be cool, don't you?
Does the word duh mean anything to you?